Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Why don't... Oh, sorry, I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane.
Thank you.
I clean forgot. And you can text us on 81215. We're live now. And you can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
We've got eggs today.
Yeah, we've got eggs. Where did they come from, the eggs?
Tally and me.
Oh, from our support staff. Oh, lovely. But you know what they say? You know what they say? Never eat fan food. So I'm.
Yeah.
I might have to get a taster.
Oh no, they're not fans. Don't worry.
Oh, they're certainly not fans.
They're staff. They work on the show.
Do people still use tasters for food? People in high positions.
Oh, that'd be good.
When I say people in high positions, I don't mean tennis referees.
Umpires.
Yeah, sorry, umpires. Yeah.
No, but I like the use of
Pedantic.
tennis referees, and I think we should
We
use it
knew.
more
We
often.
all knew. We all knew what I meant by that. What else could I possibly mean by it?
No, but since that sitcom, he's
Did
got quite
people think,
tricky.
oh, referees, is that like the training shoes they wear? No.
Yeah,
They
but
knew it was the umpires.
It's got tricky
Oh, I was
since
just
that
helping.
sitcom.
I thought I was helping explain it. You know,
I
like
know.
Shakespeare does for the groundlings.
Stop arguing and eat that cake.
Thank you. Can I point out that Alan Cochrane's sitcom starts on Thursday
It's not
evening?
mine.
Can I point out that I've
minute.
seen it?
Yes.
Oh goodness.
And I find him at least 34% more attractive.
Well, that's makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, because
I'm
of
going to
his
start wearing that
fantastic
in my
performance.
everyday life.
Turns out he's quite a good actor, Frank.
Well, I didn't doubt that for a second.
I did.
Oh, I did.
I've heard some of his tales from the job centre. Yeah, no, so watch that. What's it called, Alan?
Trying again.
Trying
Yeah.
again.
Sky Living.
Why have we started with the advert for the sitcom?
No, it just cropped up, didn't it?
Yeah,
That's
it
what
came
happens.
up.
That's what happens on this show. Things crop up.
Yeah.
I know, I'm going to turn the aircon down. We've had a text in, Frank, from Barry. He says, hi, Frank
What,
and the
do you
team.
mean a person or the island
No,
in Wales?
not from the entire island. This is just
Okay.
from Barry. He says, hi, Frank and the team. It was great to see Frank back in Bournemouth last week. I hope that he enjoyed the Boscombe TARDIS and encountered the local residents. A famous Boscombe local is Gaza. I was going to shout this out, but it did not seem
Gaza?
appropriate.
Gaza doesn't live in Boston.
No, I didn't think...
So he's saying.
Well, maybe he's moved there now, Frank.
Might
Perhaps
be.
it's a different Gaza. I'm now in the position of that judge who says, "Who is Gaza?" Yes, well, yes. I played Bournemouth, and as you know, if your British geography is red hot, Boscombe is it's right there. In Bournemouth, next to Bournemouth, joined to Bournemouth, within Bournemouth. It's there, and they've opened an actual police box.
Have they?
Like a proper old-fashioned they used to have in the 50s in this country. So it's got like it looks exactly like the TARDIS. Well, not exactly, but more or less exactly like the TARDIS. And there's a door in the front, and you can use the phone to call the police in times of...
Wow.
I'm sure this is no reflection on Boscombe and its residents. But I was looking at it, and I had my photo took in front of it and stuff. I was with Gareth, who used to be on this show, of course, in the
Yes.
golden age.
Yeah.
And
In its award-winning heyday.
exactly, exactly. And then this man came up who, how can I describe him? He had about, I'd say he had no more than 5 teeth. He had between 3 and 5 teeth.
So he's your demographic, essentially.
Yeah, and he had a camouflage coat on. And a baseball cap.
Oh.
And we had a conversation, which I thought was very enlightening about the Boscombe TARDIS, and I'll share it with you after this short break.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I made him change my chair in the break, didn't I?
Yeah, it was. I saw a complete flashback to Emily when she was about 10. Because what's wrong with the armrest? They weren't there. They were
The
broken.
armrests were too hard.
They were broken. She was going, "Oh, my armies are. Oh, I can't. Oh, I could see the child." Anyway, so this bloke with the reduced number of teeth,
Camouflage jacket.
he pointed
baseball
at this police box. He said, "What do you see? What do you see?" And I said, "Well, I thought he was getting at the Doctor Who reference. Yeah, I hope hopefully he'll be the next host of Catchphrase." And I said, "Well, the TARDIS," and he said, "Duh." He said, "It's a prison for buskers." Which hadn't struck me at all that that's what it was being used for. I was tempted to put my ear to it to see if I could hear "Let me take you back." But he was very adamant about this, and then he walked away and he said to me, "You've got a very juvenile view of life."
Did you really say that?
I hope you said you do.
No,
I quite like it.
As we'd driven there especially to see the TARDIS, I couldn't really argue against it. But he was. I don't think he was a fair representative of Boscombe, because I was. We wandered off, Gareth and I, and we were beckoned into a cafe by two young women.
Oh. I'm liking this Wallace and Gromit friendship you and Gareth have.
I like the old school tour story. We were beckoned somewhere by two young women.
Yeah. We were filming the confessions of a window cleaner at the time. It was a bit... And these two women ran a cafe called the Twisted Teapot.
Oh, yeah.
And they were sisters. And they called us in and gave us free carrot cake.
Nice.
So there you go, two sides of the same Boscombe coin.
Bit juvenile.
It was fairly juvenile. So, but it was very odd last week, because we drove off on tour from London, and if you know that London area, you may know Vanguard on the A40, which is a big tall tower next to the Hoover Building.
Oh, yeah.
And they have a sort of gimmick. I don't even know what they do, the company, but they have
storage or.
They have things on the roof.
Don't look at me, I don't get involved in admin.
That could be today's texting. What do Vanguard do?
Yeah, so that'd be a great texting. But they have, like, there'd be advertisers.
Let that be your texting.
Advertisers who pay to be on this programme, absolutely furious, where we're doing a massive Vanguard special. But anyway, they have things on top. I've seen aeroplanes up there, and they have a big inflatable Santa.
Like big installations, yeah.
Oh, right.
And they've got a TARDIS up there. So we drove past the TARDIS, then I went to Cardiff, where we went to the Doctor Who Experience, and then we went to TARDIS. I mean, it was...
Next thing you know, you'll be moving back in with your parents.
Exactly.
Do you think this is true, Emily? Do you think he's really seen 3 TARDISes in a week? I think it's that non-alcoholic wine he's chucking.
There was more than 3 at the Doctor Who Experience, I can tell you. It was...
And the Lecky Siggies, you're back on those as well.
I'll tell you something else. My shoelace came undone in Cardiff. I know this doesn't sound like it's going to be one of the great anecdotes.
All right, Peter Eustenoff, let's hear this anecdote.
And I don't know whether this is a deliberate council policy across the nation, but there are less things to put your foot on, the right height to put your foot on. Or maybe I can't get my foot as high as I used to.
I think that might be what it is.
Well, some people go straight down. They actually go down, don't they, and go flat to the floor.
Very interesting point, Frank, because I'm often forced to do that myself when I'm doing the heel swap. Of course. So I'm looking for something about sort of calf height. Is that what you're looking for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you should explain the heel swap. You mean when you go from flat
So if I'm going out, just FYI readers, if I'm going out for the evening, I'll sometimes wear a ballet pump, not really a trainer, it's a bit more New York, a ballet pump or a flip-flop to commute around town. I'm a girl about town.
Yes.
And then I'll find a secret corner of an alley, maybe, to put the heels on just before I arrive at the venue.
Yeah.
No one ever knows. The ballet pumps go in the back.
But that's a different leaning position, that, isn't it? Because I imagine
I'll be
you're
the judge of that.
You know when people do that, the sort of thigh stretch, you see footballers doing it. It's a bit like that.
Yeah, the hamstring,
But I needed something. I think there might be a sort of health and safety policy to stop people tying shoelaces on council posts and walls in case they have a slip and fall incident and catch a shin. Does anyone who works for a local council? Can you fill us in?
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
You know, earlier you were talking about tying your shoelaces, and one of the better anecdotes that's ever featured on our show.
Well, it's something you don't hear much discussed now. So at least it has a sort of a smell of originality.
I think it's up there with mine about you forget how hot peppercorns are sometimes, don't you?
Anyway, Simon has texted us. He says, I take the touch toe stance when tying my laces.
Whoa, does that mean it with a straight leg?
Well, I would imagine.
It's very flexible in the hamstrings, if that's the
You
case.
see, if I did that, I'd have to have very long laces and tie them at about just above my knee.
Yeah.
And they'd be no good to me at all. They'd be dangerous.
Well, hold your high horses. Let's read on. But you are against a ticking clock before toppling sideways. I was once so determined to finish tying my shoelace before losing balance and toppling sideways that I did in fact fall, but continued the process whilst lying on my side.
Well, there's an
That's what
argument.
Simon-
Well done for that, though. But there is an argument that it's easier if you just lay on the floor and tied them.
That's how I do
exactly.
mine. I just lie in the street and tie my shoelace. No, I don't.
What I need is a sort of telescopic heel
Yeah.
that I can bring down and then use that as my support. That'd be brilliant. But look, you know those tape measures that you get, like workmen have.
Yes, I know tape measures. Oh, yeah. Do you mean the stiff ones?
Yes.
Yeah.
You could just hook if it was like that, your heel. You could just hook that on a curb and then lift it up, and then it's a supportive heel. If there's any inventors listening, you're in your shed this morning, wondering what to try next. Let's go for the telescopic lace tying heel.
We've had an email in, Frank, from Connor Clark, who's got something of a dilemma. Hi, Frank, Emily and Venn diagram. That's not going anywhere. My wife and I run a popular book club on the last Monday of every month. It's enjoyable.
It's not Richard and Judy.
It's enjoyable, educational. No, it's not Richard and Judy. And I'm sure something Frank would approve of. In nearly 3 years, we've only missed a couple of meetings. And that's been when we were on holiday. Turning right on the plane. Sorry, Emily. However, the next book club clashes with tickets I have to see Frank in Liverpool on the 28th. Can you offer any advice? Obviously, I'm not missing your show, but I still need something to tell the angry book lovers. A novel by Beryl Bainbridge.
It needs. Depends what the book is, doesn't it?
Well, this is true, yeah.
It's a lousy book.
Or if it's the first chapter and they can catch up, but if it's the last chapter of the whole...
They don't do a chapter a week, do they?
Don't they?
It's the idea you have to read a
Never
book for
been.
homework.
Has anyone here ever done a book club?
No.
Not officially. I did a thing with... when I was on tour once, me and my support act did a thing that we both had to read a book and then tell the other one about it, but it was separate books.
Okay.
And we
Just as
did
you
it
nodded off. Just
Well, we went into a radio... I didn't go into a radio shop. We went into a bookshop.
Well, into a radio, that's a bit juvenile.
And I gave numbers, first of all. So it was like 7, 3, 4 or something. So it was the 7th bookcase in the shop, 4 shelves up, 3 books across. And that was what we had to read.
Oh.
So I ended up with a gay novel, and he ended up with a Catherine Cookson. Which we then read and had to tell each other about. So it's a book club of sorts. Anything that gets people reading. I mean, there's part of me thinking, well, they have bought the tickets.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I do hate that.
So go if
Shows
you
that are
like.
sold out and they've then got empty seats. It sort of seems like the ultimate heckle, doesn't it?
yeah, but, you know, if they're at a book club, it's the best possible excuse. I'd rather you came, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
If there's any other tickets left, why not bring the whole book club? You can do it in the intermission.
Oh, that'd be good.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
Yes, so what was we talking about? I don't know.
Tying your shoelaces.
That's become my catchphrase as I've got older.
what are we talking about? I don't know.
What's it talking about? Yes.
Still nobody's replied to today's texting of what is
What
Vanguard.
What did they do? I
What
can't
did they do?
believe it. There must be people that drive up and down the A40. They must have
All the
found it.
time. Yeah.
I'm damned if I'm Googling it.
No, me neither.
What about... I went and saw Noah,
Oh,
the film.
Mm-hmm.
we're going to need a bigger boat. I know that.
Yeah.
That's the man with the boat, isn't it?
It was...
Is that a line from the film? We're going to need a bigger boat.
No, that's a line from Jaws.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to pay to download that, so you probably haven't seen it.
Russell Crowe doesn't really do lines like that, does he?
No.
Well, I
He's,
don't know. I only spent a couple of evenings with him.
Oh, of course.
I do, genuinely, I know him.
I know
I've
you do.
encountered him, but I can't tell my anecdote because it involves a lot of expletives.
Okay. Well, good. But I only know him through celluloid.
Okay.
And do you know celluloid? That right, posh girl lives in. Now, I've seen him in films. I find he's obviously a good actor, but he's a good actor who seems to be thinking, "Oh, blimey, I'm a good actor." All the time he's acting. He's very momentous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So
He's not got much self-doubt, old Russell.
No, but everything he said in the film was
import. Is he drunk Scottish in it? It wasn't Braveheart you were watching, was it?
I didn't think it needed words.
Did he? He does speak in it, doesn't he?
He does, but you know what I mean? He's a bit like that. I
imagine him wearing a sou'wester as he says it.
He's just momentous. If I was the director, I'd have said, "Russ, I love it, but it's just a bit too momentous." You know what I mean?
Can we have less? That was never a note I got on the sitcom. Can we have less momentousness, Alan?
But sort of a bit of light and dark, Russell. Too momentous. I can't take that much momentous. It's making my shoulders hurt.
The idea of you directing Russell Crowe.
No, but you know,
I'd sell my house.
I'm sure we've all seen that home movie footage of Hitler dancing. Have you seen that?
No.
No? It's Hitler socialising.
Seen it? It's my screensaver.
In the Berchtesgaden.
It's Blondie. Is Blondie there?
With Ava I think Blondie's tied up. But he's with Ava. That's his dog, by the way, in case you're wondering. And he dances quite well. Fair play to him.
Yeah.
And fair play to him.
You can't say that about Adolf Hitler.
I think you can say that.
You can. That's what people say about him. Oh, he's a wonderful public speaker, and he dances quite well. Fair play to him. That's what they say now. They're adding that now.
My point is that Hitler didn't. He did momentous, Hitler. But he had he could relax and have a lightness of touch, yeah.
Lightness of touch?
Very light on his feet, Hitler. Russell Crowe is just he got a Thingy was in it, Anthony Hopkins.
Thingy? Oh, he loves being called Thingy.
Anthony Hopkins, he does a great momentous, but also
he
does the quiet, doesn't he?
He does a bit about liking berries in it, spoilers. And it's
I can't wait to see this film.
It's lovely. Also, it's
how does Anthony Hopkins do? Anthony Hopkins, what does he do? He does light and then shades.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, that is.
Noah.
That's all right.
Come, Noah. Noah, you need to relax. Come dance with me. It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes. You know what I mean? He can be light-hearted, in a way that Russell Crowe can't. If you know what I mean.
Frank
Skinner
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
So you've gone to see Noah, which starred Russell Crowe in Thingy.
No, I'm a great fan of Sir Anthony Hopkins, but I just for a second I had a senior. Also, it's very right on. It's all about saving the planet. Really, it's not so much about. I'm not going to give too much about it, but you must know this from the publicity. There's a lot of they're vegetarians and stuff, and that's why they save the animals.
A lot of rain, is there? Is there a lot of rain in it?
There's a fair amount of rain.
Right.
That holds no appeal whatsoever.
Can I ask though, if you were a really super vegetarian, would you name your son Ham?
No.
Seems likely, doesn't it?
Is there a ham in it?
Through. That's
other than Russell Crowe.
That's it. I don't know that he's. I can't possibly. If he's listening, he's the sort of bloke who come around the studio.
Yeah, I'd take him.
He will. He listens to everything. Hi, Russell.
I'd take
Miss
him.
ya.
I'll step to him.
Oh, can I have a word with you outside? Okay.
He called me Wizzy UK. That was his nickname for me.
Wizzy UK?
Because he had a friend in Australia called Wizzy, and apparently I looked just like her.
But even that, I bet he said, "You are Wizzy UK." He couldn't do it in a light way.
I'm going to put you in my phone.
I was, I'd be so frightened if he said that.
He's never going to speak to me again.
I was in the park with my son, Boz, and BUZZ. And,
Was he?
He was on the double Z. He was on the swing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they love the swing.
Well, he went through a period of being frightened of the swing, but now he's back to it. So I was giving him a good old push, and this kid walked past, this small child, and went, "The baby's going high." Just carried on walking. And I made me think, oh, God, I'm pushing him too high. What an interesting piece of commentary.
I don't think you should take health and safety advice from other children. That's one of the rules.
Well, they're taught it now at school.
They won't mislead you.
I took Bertie, my niece, on the swings the other day, and there were some children on the roundabout, and one of them said, you can't come in here, this is National Rail. Apparently that's what they play in playgrounds now, National Rail.
Oh.
God. What's happening? Come back to this.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
How high you go on the swing, I don't know. But I noticed that I slowed up a bit when I was getting... there was a sort of kink at the end of the arc where he was sort of dropped. We're not back to Noah.
Or Ray Davis.
So I felt like I was pushing him. But, he wasn't complaining.
No, they're fine with it.
Children. Also, we went to a zoo in Golders Green.
Is this you and Buzz now, or you and Gareth?
Me, Buzz, and the whole family.
Another of your day trips.
And we saw, so Buzz is going donkey at the donkeys, obviously, and the owl.
Don Quixote.
Owl at the owls. It was all very good. And he likes the animals and all that. And then as we was walking back, he pointed again, and it was a rat on the floor.
Were you in the cafe by that point?
And I actually went, rat? Rat, even though I'm thinking, oh, it's a rat. It was quite close. And the rat didn't flee, even though we got close.
The rat
they're brave souls.
Might think it's part of the zoo.
Well, it does live.
Why shouldn't it?
No, it very much looked as if it wasn't. It very much looked...
But I mean, what it thinks and what it is two different things.
No, but I thought its manner...
It looked like a burglar rat.
Its manner was very much, hey, I'm not part of the zoo thing. Don't point me out.
I'm an independent free spirit.
Here incognito.
This is my hood, He felt like it wouldn't right to be pointed at him like he was him. It's like when you see those punks with big mohawks you see getting photographed in London. You think this is not what it should be like for the punks. They should be troublesome and outlaws.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio, and I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane.
Oh, thanks very much.
Did you forget who we were?
No, I thought I'm sounding a bit one-legged.
Oh, yeah?
It's a radio term. You can text us on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, and email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
When you said I'm sounding a bit one-legged, it's a radio term, the producer just looked at me and shook her head as if to go, it's not, Alan. As if I'm making little notes oh, well, that'll be handy for
it's a comment
future career in radio.
Monaural sound.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I'd like to say you're sounding a bit toppy, that's all I know.
Oh, yeah.
A bit lager toppy.
Yeah. So, this weekend it's Easter. Apparently there has some tremendous religious significance.
Yes.
Which is lost on me.
And me.
Frank fasted yesterday.
What?
It's Good Friday. You have to fast on Good Friday.
Oh, really? I ate loads as well. I had a Good Friday.
Yeah. You'll have it. You won't have such a Good Friday in the furnace. You go into Barrow-in-Furness.
He's using the days for what they're intended, in fairness. I've used the days to lie in bed and dream up revenge strategies for people that insulted me in 1987. That's what I do with my extra time. I do.
At least you're, looking back at your life.
I like that sort of thing.
Yeah, but have you read about this hot cross bun? Because I need to talk to you about hot cross buns. I have major hot cross bun issues. To do with the citrus.
Bun issues.
It's how dare you? It's the citrus inclusion, but we'll get to that.
Oh, yes.
What's in there that's citrus?
Isn't there like a
Great big
raisins.
orange bits, maybe?
There's big orange bits in a hot cross
Yeah.
bun.
Well, I think it depends on your... But I have known like a sort of... a sort of a marmaladal slice.
Yeah, it's a hideous surprise.
I have had
you
them
don't
with
like
those in. Yes.
It's like meeting your dream man and then finding he's got White Snake on his iPod. That's what it feels like.
Yeah,
'Cause I love a hot
I've
cross
had
bun.
that. I've had that.
Oranges. Can I ask a question? When I was a kid, we used to have tangerines.
Hang on, we're going back a bit here.
We used to have tangerines, then suddenly they turn into satsumas.
Yeah.
Are they one and the same thing, or is that a different breed of small orange?
I don't know, I can't remember the Peasants' Revolt. What was going on
That'd
back
be
then.
today's text in 8, 12, 15.
No, they are
tangerines.
different.
Are they?
We did get resolution on Vanguard. You know, we had the Vanguard text in. Paul has texted, Vanguard are an American investment company that manage money on a passive basis. That is all. Cheers, Paul.
I manage money on a passive basis. Sort of,
Yeah.
maybe. Don't know.
What about this hot cross bun? They
So
found a
hold on
hot cross bun.
Can I ask this question? I had
This
recently...
is ask me anything.
I recently had a batch. You brought up citrus fruits. I recently had a batch of, let's call them satsumas. Let's
Yeah.
try and be modern about it.
Yeah.
Well, if we're going modern, aren't they easy peelers now? That's what they call them, isn't it?
Is
That's
that
in the
right?
that's in the pound shop.
Okay. Okay, what a giveaway. And I found that that obviously that many of them were allowed to rot in the fruit bowl, as all fruit. I would say 80% of the fruit that comes into our house rots into.
Oh,
But
that's a shame.
I find with satsumas that you get some of them go squidgy and turn to a sort of furry mush.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them go like rock hard, tiny cannibal.
Oh, yeah.
What in this crazy random universe decides which satsuma takes which route?
I think it's...
I love the furry
I think the
ones.
fork in the road is moisture. I think if it goes...
Well, I'm talking about things that dwelleth in the same
calm
bowl.
down.
Yeah. I
I
think
heard
if,
you so angry.
if one of them is below moist, then it goes hard, and I think if it's above moist, it goes mushy. That's
Below
my...
and above moist.
You know, from normal. If you take the
I
same
like
two
a
fruit,
loose segment.
one of them's...
I really do.
You think this link's not very tight? Is that what you're saying?
No,
You know
she's
when
on
the
about
segments-
what she has for breakfast. One segment of satsuma.
You know when the segments come loose? Oh, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the nice thing about the
Yeah.
satsuma. Is that thing about just pulling the peel off without no need for the thumbnail to have any suffering at all. Mm-hmm. I've done a tight peeled orange.
Yeah.
Where my thumbnail after
Yeah.
is throbbing.
Yeah, but I don't like all the white flotsam and jetsam, though.
Oh, I like
Good.
that. I like the
Do you like
slight,
the
I
flotsam
like
and
the slight
jetsam?
tearing when you pull the inner fruit. You know, the tearing of the pith. Oh, the tearing of the pith. What a fabulous poem that is.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Never mind that. What about this hot cross bun?
Yes, the hot cross bun.
It's 207 years old, this hot cross bun,
This has been found
in a house in Essex.
Okay.
There was a rather strange backstory. It was given to the owners
There
by
would be, though.
an
wouldn't there?
electrician in the 1980s, which I thought sounded quite set up to a Two Ronnies sketch.
Yeah, they said
Yeah.
he'd done some work at his
Yeah.
house.
And he'd inherited it or something. Like, who inherits a hot cross bun? It's not up there
I
with-
think they used to be considered, because of the cross and all that, to be something that was sort of brought good fortune, so people used to keep them.
Right.
They tend to, I don't know what their random factor is on going squidgy or hard. This one has clearly gone hard. You
Yes.
couldn't keep a
Yeah.
squidgy.
She said,
No.
Dot, the owner, said it was like a ball of concrete. Apparently, yeah, but these original hot cross buns, they just had the cross on the top and they were like bread rolls.
I wonder what the name of Dot's website is.
What is it?
Is it dot.com?
Yeah, so these are more like bread rolls. They have the actual cross on the top.
Yeah, there'd be no orange peel in these old style.
Oh, no.
No, you'd like that.
I'd love it. Don't like the hideous surprise.
I'm
I think they're a pretty good band. My problem with them is any sort of horizontal slicing I have to do.
Oh, don't you like that, Frank?
I find it very hard to judge.
Oh.
So what happens is I often get a thin slice and quite a thick slice. You know when you have to slice
Right.
it? And I hate
A
that
bread
thing.
roll.
what I find always with a hot cross bun, they get wedged in the toaster.
Oh, the Bernie corner.
So they start
I hate the Bernie corner.
start to really burn, and I always do this thing, which is reckless, I know, but I go in with the knife to pull them out.
Oh, me too.
Do you think I unplug it first? Do I buffalo? I go straight in, and honestly, I'm absolutely on edge.
It's turning my stomach.
You're on a knife's edge.
I think I've forgotten the dangers. I don't think
That doesn't happen anymore, does it?
I don't think
you'll
I've
get a
had
shock when you remember.
No, but I haven't had an electric shock since the 80s.
Really?
Really?
I think
in the lifts
I
all
think
the
I'd
time.
find it quite nostalgic. No, I've had those static things, but I haven't been thrown across a room since I
I
would
know what
say
you mean, though.
87.
When was that?
It does seem quite a 70s thing to be warned about. It's a bit like
It's
don't
like-
listen to the radio in the bathroom.
It is. It's like having a glass of milk. Having an electric shock. It's something that it's from my past. Very odd. So, I wouldn't mind. I don't want to kill her, but I wouldn't mind one that just shook me up a bit. I remember them being quite exciting in the aftermath.
they're exciting,
Then you got an anecdote just like that.
Yeah.
You'd say it, wouldn't you? Well, I just got a really big shock off that.
Are you talking about off the plug or something?
Anything like that.
Yeah, but can I tell you why you got it a lot in the 70s? Because of the clothing.
Well,
It's all man-made fibres.
I know, but that's static. I'm on about the
I
stuff
think we should
that
give some
really
credit
does-
to electricians as well for the last 30 years. I think they've
What a
started
thing for you.
earthing
It's
everything.
such a typical thing for you to say. Credit for electricians. For goodness sake.
We've started earthing things better, I think, is one of the...
They don't teach them how to change plugs anymore. They don't need to.
No, it's easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you think it took so long to supply plugs with electrical goods?
I'm talking about plugs on Absolute Radio.
Well, they like plugs on Absolute Radio. At least it's not for power tools. Makes a nice change.
On the Easter food, I eat eggs and boiled eggs all year round. Love them. And now it's Easter, I feel like there's loads of egg tourists on board. Everyone's having it.
What about when my dad's chickens started eating their own eggs? Did I ever tell you that story?
No.
Did they?
Well, I'll tell you later on. Let's put it this way, my dad dealt with it quite severely.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So, yeah, my dad always kept chickens when I was a kid. And,
That must have been hard with the two dogs.
well, they weren't allowed in. The chickens were behind
Oh,
chicken wire.
okay.
And wire netting, as they call it. And occasionally you'll get one rogue chicken will start eating their own eggs, or eat all the other chickens' eggs,
No.
which is not it's not acceptable, as they say in France.
No.
So the method was my dad would get an egg, an intact egg, and he'd blow it. You know how you blow an egg? You put a little hole in each side, and then you blow the
Oh,
contents
yeah, we used to
out.
do that when we were kids.
He'd then mix up a sort of egg-sized portion of Coleman's mustard,
Oh.
He would
and he'd,
not
yeah,
do this.
honestly, and he'd blow and he'd put that into the egg. I can't remember quite how he put it in, but he used to put that into the egg. Then he used to put this egg in the back in the chicken thing. And as he was leaving, having done this, he would take all the chicken's water away. And then he would, we'd just sit and
He
wait.
was so precise with his punishment.
Yeah.
So, well, it's more of a rehabilitation. Because,
Tough on the causes of crime.
Suddenly you'd see one chicken, running round.
With a very
Madly,
hot
up and
mouth.
down, yeah, just running round, desperately looking for the water bowl that wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
And that would go on. They'd be running around for maybe 15 minutes.
Ironically, with a sore mouth, it'd be running around like a headless chicken.
It would. Exactly that. And,
It was quite ingenious of him to devise that, though.
well, I don't know if he devised it. It might be something, it might be
Not
an
just
old country
ingenious.
He
law.
might have heard it from a serial
Not
killer or
just
something.
ingenious on torture, but when they ate the chicken, they didn't need to put mustard on it. Brilliant.
Always saving the pennies
You
out.
can be sure we ate it pretty soon after. If it was going to be a wrong un. So, I'll tell you what I'm not partial to, the Cadbury's cream egg.
Oh, you're not a fan? Oh, what about the
much.
mini ones?
Confectionery overkill.
Too much.
Really?
Don't you find with it, you think, oh, I'll have a Cadbury's, oh, I feel sick. Like
Do you think that?
literally about 4 seconds.
Now, You've got a point.
No.
I'll tell you what I don't like is the proximity of the tin foil. Oh, I can't even talk about it. But it comes too close, doesn't it, to the mouth, the tin foil.
Well, I take
fully
all the
unwrap
tin.
it,
I fully unwrap it as
Oh, so
well.
you've got some peach of the wild, brown hands.
Yeah, I'm all right. I've used the washed that off with vomit by then.
See what I do? Put a little bit of mustard in Frank's egg. Just to teach him a little lesson.
And also, surely it should be a creme egg.
Cadbury's creme egg.
Well, it's CREME.
You make me sound like a complete idiot if you said that. Can I have a Cadbury's creme egg?
No, but you say it in every other. You say creme brulee, didn't you?
True.
You'd say that's for a creme brulee, or was it creme fraiche?
Yeah. I love you speaking French.
Can I have
But you would
Cadbury's
say those.
creme egg and
Are
some
you-
creme fraiche?
are you-
creme
Well,
brulee,
then if you're
please.
going that far, it should be
Just
an
practicing it.
Yeah.
I say no. I just think it's
Can I
how
have
you
a
say.
Cadbury's creme.
I'm on about.
That's what Frank's going to say when
No.
he goes into a news agent.
No, but they've used the French spelling. That's my point. They
Les œufs.
Call it CREAM if you want us to say cream egg. That's my point.
Okay, I
even
don't
say-
work for Cadbury's. I don't
even
work for
say
Vanguard
crispy
either.
creme.
Crispy.
I do, because I know they've added K's in a Kardashian style, but KREME, that should be crispy creme. No debate.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
So I'm back in London today with news from
Demonstrably.
with news from north of the border. I've spent most of last week in Scotland, and talk about a missed opportunity. I was in Scotland from Monday to Thursday,
What were you doing there?
visiting family and one little gig.
Oh, I thought there'd be money in there.
No, actually, the family visit came first and the gig second.
So it was a
yeah.
holiday?
Yes, largely, but a working one to a little bit.
That's nice that people
Anyway.
go on holiday to Scotland. I didn't know that.
Awful. The point being, I was there all that time, didn't have a single conversation about Scottish independence, not one. And on the way up, I'd meant to. Even last week when you said, what do your family think about independence, I totally forgot to ask. Well, I did offer my gran a cup of tea, who's 90, and she said, no, I'm fine. So she's pretty independent.
She said, what's
Yeah.
for your nail go by you?
That's not what they mean by Scottish independence.
Is it not? They don't want
I
someone
mean,
with
I
an
think-
English accent making
I
them
think
tea.
we accept they are by nature an independent law, but this is a bit more official.
Yeah, but it feels like I really missed. I met loads of people as well. Like there was hotel staff.
I
There was
think I
people-
might have had one conversation in England about it.
Oh, I've had loads of conversations about it in England.
Perhaps they're not bothered.
It seems like somebody
they're not.
mentioned it at the gig, but nobody mentioned it backstage. Nobody mentioned it in the street. Nobody
Well,
talked
anyway,
to me
what
about
I
it
don't
at
want is the
all.
texting about it. So I
You don't want
think people, I
just
think,
a simple yes or no.
No, I don't want any dealings. It's not our business.
I don't want
way I
any
see it.
dealings.
Somewhat my business, but yeah.
I don't like the
I
two.
like that it's dealings.
If
now.
I was Scottish, I would be very miffed about the amount of English people that's got an
With an
opinion.
opinion.
On it. Yeah.
Oh,
mind
a lot.
your own business.
I'm very miffed about
I think when
anybody.
Bowie
with an
waded
opinion.
in, that would have been the
David Bowie, yeah.
Yeah.
honestly.
Oh, don't. You can
Keep
do no
it
wrong
shut,
in my
pal.
eyes.
Keep it shut, pal. Another weird thing happened. We were staying in.
David, keep it in there, mate.
We were staying in a hotel that had a swimming pool, which was exciting.
I was just making the point. No, I don't care. Yeah, but you don't understand. Sorry, that was David Bowie.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, no, I got it.
It's not as good as your Ian McMillan.
No, well,
It's not dissimilar to
can't get-
Elvis Costello.
No, it's not. So we were staying
I'm
in
not
a
an
hotel that
impressionist,
had
but I'm no
you're
Cole
very
Shaw.
good.
Oh,
You're
you
very
didn't
good.
need to tell us that.
You did, to an extent. You're very good at the people that nobody's heard of.
oh, I'm good at those. The people that don't exist.
Those ones were great.
Hey, if I'm good at anything, I'm good at that. That going up thing at the end. Love it.
So we stayed in this hotel that had a swimming pool, right? And I'm not
Oh,
lying.
you were
I-
pushing the boat out.
Whoa,
Oh,
yeah, did you have
whoa,
vouchers?
whoa.
No, I'd just got a decent deal.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
the
but
gym,
it's the winter months. Guess what, Frank?
gym-
It's not heated.
it's always winter in Scotland. There's no summer months there. The gym was obviously
Gym?
the gym and hotel were obviously used by people of a certain age in the Glasgow community. So
Oh.
sometimes we were in the swimming pool and it looked like Cocoon. It really did. And a strange thing
Did they leave a
happened.
ring around the sides of the swimming pool?
A strange thing happened when we were getting changed, me and my little boy. A man came in.
It was a walk-in swimming pool, the door on.
This senior
Dora
gentleman.
O'Brien advertising it.
Talk about a strange grooming habit. This senior man came in from the shower. He had his towel wrapped around him.
I don't like the way this is going.
Well, you might not. He walked up to the hairdryer, got the hairdryer, turned it on, and blow-dried his gentleman's excuse me. You are... I'm not lying. In full view of everybody in the... Just give it a full blow-dry. And I looked at it and thought... I bet that feels really nice. I bet it does, in fairness.
As you mention it.
Why haven't I thought of that?
Can I be the lone voice of reason? It doesn't look really nice.
If I carried
Absolutely disgusting.
I don't mean it looked that. I mean it looked like it felt nice.
If I carried a hand
want to know that.
hairdryer, I could do it whilst tying my shoelace.
I don't want you to ever do it.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So, we
were in a
last left you
Glasgow-
with some shocking news.
We were in a Glasgow changing room in front of the lockers with a pensioner using a blow dryer on his nether regions, shall we say.
It makes complete sense if you think about it.
Well,
Can I ask a question?
It makes even more sense when you think he was... I can't remember focusing on it, but I think he had a bald head, so he was probably thinking, I should get my money's worth out of that
It might be
hairdryer.
Richard Fairbrass.
No, he was older.
Can I ask a question? No
What
one's
was his
older.
shirt? Was his shirt sexy or less sexy than him?
Who's less sexy?
Oh, wasn't it? Oh, well, there you go then. It could have been him.
Can I ask a question? Was he
Yeah.
wearing trunks, or did he have... I'm imagining him with a towel held
Yeah,
slightly... Oh, it was the towel...
it was towel and flesh.
Okay. I don't know if we should go into more detail on this.
No.
Okay.
But it did
Respect
make
to
me.
him, though.
It made me think I'm having a go at that. I'm not sure I'm going to wait for as long as him, but I'm one day I'll be using a blow dryer on there.
I did once, and I have to be careful how I phrase this, but let's say that a suddenly appearing damp patch on my trousers.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah, you've been really careful how you phrase that.
I had to dry
Absolutely
it. I
disgusting.
dried it on the hand dryer in the gentleman's.
Yeah.
And I had to sort of slightly climb up the wall a bit to get
Incy Wincy
into
Spider.
position.
but you're
I
glad
look
you had
like-
your grippy shoes on, weren't you?
I look like Ivy. I look like Ivy climbing up the wall. And
There was
also,
a cartoon character called Bella the Gymnast. I bet you were like that.
surprising how quickly it gets hot, though, so the actual
Oh,
surface
yeah.
area. Anyway, enough.
I mean, I already moisturise my elbows and knees more frequently.
I'm
these
still
days.
having... I've mentioned hand cream on this show before. Someone sent me some hand cream once, and I thought, don't send me hand cream, by the way. Stick your hand cream. But I can't...
Probably another thing that guy does.
I can't find a window for
to
hand
put
cream.
the hand cream on.
Because I put hand cream on and then I'm handling things and they're all...
Oh, yeah.
Even
Nice,
last
eh?
thing
Sorry, Frank.
at night, I find my hands...
Well, that's not a
sometimes-
good time.
They'll just slip out of bed.
That is not a good time.
When I wake up, my arms are out of bed, my hands are on the floor, they've just slipped straight out of bed.
And it's played havoc with your juggling, hasn't it?
Yeah, through my juggling. I can't read because you can't use your iPhone or anything, or any other phones are available. You can't use any phone.
Are they? Not really.
You can't. They're available, but I wouldn't have them. But you know, I'd have
I wouldn't talk to anyone who had one. Can I just say something? I'm actually a bit phobic about hand cream. Specifically, watching girls apply it. There's something a bit pre-operative surgeon about it, and I don't like it.
Oh, I like that. Do they run it to the elbow?
Yeah, they run it to the elbow
Oh, I like that.
while they're talking to you. Have you
No.
got those? Have you got those minutes from the meeting? I can't bear it when girls put hand cream
Well,
on.
girls seem to do it a lot.
Yeah, they
but,
do. Twice a day, you're meant to do it.
I can't. You can't get it on everything you own.
No.
Like that.
I'd rather
How
just
often-
have the old Madonna hands.
How often do you do it?
Well, I don't do it enough, hence the old Madonna hands.
Okay. I might just get a couple of oven gloves. You know, joined in the middle. I'm just trying to read this note.
Daisy,
from
can I
mine.
just say
Oh, here
Daisy
we
went a
go.
bit coughing major?
Yeah, I just couldn't quite read what she'd written. It's lovely. It's my fault. So just can I establish it's my fault?
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you, my hair, speaking of grooming, is longer than it's been for some time.
I quite like it.
Yeah, well, see, I don't actually like the feel of it. I like that zzz, zzz on the sides. But my girlfriend said to me, oh no, I like it long, leave it. So I've sort of left it. But it suddenly there's a lot of decision making when it's a bit longer. I've gone very much to my left with it.
You're passing to your left now.
But it's sort of made its own decision on that. And I'm wondering if I should have been more forceful. And I've also tried gelling it straight up in a Don King.
Oh, but Jedward.
Yeah.
Did you?
How did that?
Have you had a quiet week?
It actually looked all right. You don't often see it on an old man. If you can imagine if Fido Dido, where are they now, Fido Dido, and he's like an old guy living in the country, but his hair's still the same. It's at that kind of...
Can I give you a piece of advice?
Please do.
Which I'd love you to take.
Okay.
I like your hair long. I agree with Kath. And I think if you've still got hair, no offence, which you have, make the most of it, love.
Yeah, if you've got it flaunted.
There are enough who don't have it.
I was trying to...
So a shoulder length ponytail.
I was trying to provide a ramp between having hair and not having hair, so people got used to the idea. Whereas if it starts falling out now, it's like if Brian Mays went. I mean, it'd be an absolute... in a way, a blessing, but visually a shocker. It might even wipe the smile off his wife's face, who's a perpetual smiler.
Anita Dobson.
Yeah, she's a great smiler. One of those people whose teeth don't overlap when they smile. They sit on top of each other, like Posh Spice's smile. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's got one of those grins where the teeth sit directly on top of each other.
It's a bit PG Tips Chimps, isn't it?
Yes.
I had a moment of unrequested grooming. I kissed my wife goodbye when I was on my way out of the house recently, in the kitchen, and she licked her thumbs and flattened my eyebrows.
Oh, did she?
I would. I like that.
You like that?
I wish Kath would.
I don't think it was meant to be amorous. I think it was more just tidying me up before I saw the outside world.
Whose faces could be improved by some eyebrow.
A little bit of pruning.
I've got
the nostril hairs that were coming out the other day when I got in the car.
All right, don't just give us a catalogue.
I've got nostril hairs I could knot at the back of my head. I might do it at Christmas. I'm gonna
do that and then do the Don King gel. It'll be all right.
Do you think that could be a .com millionaire if I invented face bunting?
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean Allen Cochrane. Text us on 81215. Go on. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email us directly through the Absolute website.
The Absolute blah blah blah.
You know, websites.
Oh, I know websites.
I don't.
We were discussing the old grooming habits.
Whoever's phone just went off, could you please turn it off? Thank you.
Was it mine?
After
Someone just
hairdryer
got an email. Thank
Not
you.
me.
Did I get an email?
Someone just got an email. Everyone check their phone. If anyone got an email, it was you.
I'm on airplane mode. Thanks.
Can you all check?
I'm on silent.
Can you check? I think it was me. Okay.
Oh.
Sorry, Al.
We've had an email. Good morning, Frank M and lovely Alan. Thank you. And you're talking about personal grooming. I threaten to assist my husband with his facial grooming if he doesn't keep it under control, and more often than not, he lets me. What does that say about us? No way I would let anyone near me with tweezers. I also assist with body mole hairs. How much that must hurt.
Oh.
Strange man.
Ow.
Yeah, that was my feeling on that. Ouch.
Well, the most coupley thing is that it's doing the other person's blackheads.
Is it the most coupley? Is it the most gross?
I think it's coupley, because that's...
Just pay someone to do it.
I prefer a glass of wine and a box set.
Well, we're all different.
That's what I say is the most coupley.
I like the fact that...
Frank think that sums up the life of a couple.
Well, I think in an otherwise honest relationship, you'll get out-and-out barefaced lies like when you go, that really hurts, and they go, it's coming now, and it isn't coming. They're just trying to keep you on the... It's miles away.
What about Dave? Woke up the other morning with my fiancé over me, tweezers in hand. It's okay. Yanking out an overgrown eyebrow. Dave just tweeted that.
How could she have hoped that he would have slept through that pain? I had to go.
Try threading.
I had to go at an eyebrow the other day with just my bare hands. I just got it in between my nails, I pulled it, and it slipped out the last minute and curled into a tiny tiny. It looked ready for the Scotsman's hairdryer. That's the kind of that's the way it went. Anyway, maybe enough about grooming.
Yeah,
We're starting
it's not
to
just
get a
me
bit.
that's been on holiday, though.
Starting to make me feel a bit sick.
Hang on, I'm just
Old,
blocking someone who's been rude about me.
Old David Cameron, he's been on holiday.
Oh, he got stung.
Apparently got
did.
stung by a jellyfish
He did.
in the water in Lanzarote.
not-
And apparently he went in there in spite of a warning, because it says in the article, expat Wendy Lambert, 59, said one of her friends had pointed out to Mr Cameron that there's loads of jellies down there. I think that's why he went in. I think he thought there was pudding in the water, didn't he?
Can I tell you what I thought? I thought this was all a bit tragic. One of the people sort of standing on the beach said he came running out of the water in his blue swimming trunks, rubbing his arm. It sounded a bit Mr Bean, didn't it?
Well,
he sounded a pathetic creature.
I saw a picture of him and Sam Cam dining, and I've
Yes.
seen them. I remember the last holiday. Do you remember the holiday when they didn't tip the waitress?
I do.
Oh, no.
And they had to go back to the cafe and tip her the next day, otherwise he'd have lost the election, I think was the theory.
Yeah.
That is...
And I noticed on that holiday photo, and it's probably been 2 or 3 years ago, that incident, they were both wearing black, and I thought, that's not very holiday, is it? And then they had a picture of them sitting at a table. Again, he's got shorts on, but black shorts, black shirt, she's got a black dress on. They're like sort of like Tim Burton and Helena Bonham Carter if they'd been smartened up for Sunday school.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
noticed
weird.
he did have the tan suede loafer, and he'd gone foot commando, Frank.
Can you imagine?
It was sans sock.
Sockless.
Can you imagine the amount of thought that they must put into
Yeah.
what he has to wear?
Well, she
Yeah.
has to wear high street. I think at least 1 or 2 items have to be high street.
And obviously, because they're both on holiday and they have to tip in cash now, they both wear a bum bag at all times.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
a very... Where else
With
would you wear a
Lanzarote
bomb
written
bag
on it.
apart from on holiday? Never even think about
Imagine
wearing a
wearing
bomb
one to the
bag in this
BAFTAs.
country.
Yeah, I
I'm
never
going to wear
think
one
of
to
it.
the BAFTAs.
They should really double up a cummerbund and the bum bag, couldn't they, for awards
I'm
do?
gonna-
Benedict.
I'm going to wear one for the the Radio Academy Awards, but my bomb bag is going to be in the shape of the award.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
And see what?
Yeah.
What about the corner? We haven't been down the corner today.
Oh,
Here
yeah.
comes. Here it comes. Ready? Email corner. Did I tell you I've hired a town crier for email corner?
Lovely. Is that Harry Seacombe?
I suppose in a way we all are.
Yeah. We're going to kick off with Tom.
Okay,
Hi,
Tom.
Frank. Yeah. Hi, Frank. About 6 years ago, when I worked in Holborn, I'd walked back...
Holborn, I should say, is a sort of what you say, the financial area of London.
Yeah. I'd say...
Sort of.
A sort of business district.
Borderline.
Yeah. I'd walk back through the back streets, repetition of back, but that's okay. It's not just a minute. Towards Charing Cross. While walking through Covent Garden, I had a phone call from a friend. While initiating the general small talk, I turned to see you carrying some sort of musical instrument. In a case granted, clearly you took care of it. At which point I turned and said, "All right, Frank." I sounded a bit Adrian Charles. "All right, Frank." "All right, mate." My friend on the phone, on asking who the person was I said hello to, heard my response. "Oh, it was Frank Skinner." For some reason, I retorted, "Yeah, we're mates. Just for fun." That so wasn't just for fun. The conversation moved on, and my window of admitting the humorous lie passed by. Still, to this day, when I bump into this person, they ask me how Frank is. I tell him, "Fine, just busy working as usual," every time.
This is it's lovely.
I love Tom.
in a
That's
way.
brilliant lie. Lie big.
The nice thing is that one thing I never had when I was a child, which I knew some children who did,
Was toothpaste?
no. Well, okay, it included toothpaste, but I'm apart from that, I never had an imaginary friend,
Oh, Frank.
and now I am one.
Oh, that's
It's
nice,
quite
isn't
an
it?
elite
Come
group.
full circle.
Because
Yeah.
often they don't exist. They're not. You know,
Yeah.
they're not people who exist. Who you make your friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm quite pleased with this.
And can I just say to Tom, that is a very accurate representation, because, I mean, I've worked with you, 3 or 4 years now,
Yeah.
and when people say to me, "How's Frank doing?" I say, Fine, just busy working as usual. That's exactly what happens.
Tom, you basically are to be honest, you've written to me, which I haven't heard from lots of my real friends for many years.
Tom's basically a better friend than most of your actual friends.
Yeah. I'd say, Tom, if you take I also get regular emails and that from some of my former colleagues at Barcelona.
Oh, yeah.
My playing days.
There we go.
So it's the imaginary people who you ultimately you cling to in this crazy old life we live in. Like one might cling to a floating seahorse type thing at the swimming baths.
Look at the hairdryer out.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Dear Frank, the Divine Miss M and Alan Little Epiphanies Cochrane, thank you for that. I have a problem, and I think you are the only panel that will understand me. That's interesting.
That's nice, isn't it? I often write to the Gardener's Question Time panel if I've got a big personal problem.
Well,
I find men often say to me, my panel doesn't understand me.
Yeah. Actually, I only do that if Robbie Williams isn't available. He's my life counsellor. You have to listen to last week's show to understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
we'll get repeat business from that.
Don't give me that.
Good news is we did. We've heard it. So.
Oh, good.
The show makes no attempt to deny that any mistakes are corrected, or corrected, as Alan would say. Is this person attacking me, do you think? Is that what's happening here?
I think it's warm-hearted.
OK, well, let's stick with that. Especially following the Jane Eyre and latticed pasties debacles. Oh,
yes,
I too can't help myself. As soon as I hear someone say something wrong, I tell them what they should have said. Does that make me a bad person, or just an irritating one? Thanks, Harriet in Nottingham.
It's interesting.
Where do you stand on this?
Well, can I say on the lattice... I had a thought
be.
about the lattice pasties, because I try to give you the benefit of the doubt, because you're rarely wrong. I wonder if the pasty might have been left on a wicker chair.
Oh, nice.
Do you remember the
nice bit of benefit
you remember
of the doubt?
The Princess Diana
Yes,
story?
I do.
When the newspapers reported that she had cellulite, leaving a gym in shorts. And it's at a time when the royals never ever commented on anything in the press, and she released a statement to say she'd been sitting on a wicker chair. I mean, it was so marvellous. Get your priorities right, love. Never seen a pasty, of course.
No. I'm sorry, but there are lattice pasties, and that's that.
Okay.
And I've had numerous people corresponding with me via Twitter, showing me photographs
of lattice pasties.
Yeah.
They cook them for you. That's all.
Don't eat canned food. We return to that.
But as for telling people when they're wrong, it's sort of...
Well, let's
I
do
like
Descartes. Should we bring up the awkward subject of Descartes?
Okay.
Yeah. When she says... Does that make me a bad person or an irritating one? I think it might make a part of your bit of the Venn diagram, Frank, of just a bit of a git. A bit of a git.
But you can't allow people to continue in error.
No.
I find. Occasionally...
all right, Stalin.
Occasionally you have to be diplomatic. I mean, I'll
tell you what I do, Frank. So, example, let's say it was... what have I got to tell you? Example. With Descartes.
Yes.
I'd say, oh, yeah, Descartes, yeah. So I just repeat it in the correct manner.
Well, I repeated it in the correct manner, as in, Descartes? Who's that? We should say this was when Alan Cochrane referred to the French philosopher Descartes as Descartes.
Yeah, I'd only ever read it. So
yeah, it's all right.
I hadn't said it out loud.
It's fine. I don't feel bad about it. What about when me and David Baddiel interviewed Prince Nassim, who was a world champion boxer, I should say, before who you correct. And he said the Sultan of Brunei had given him a watch that was embezzled with diamonds.
Well, maybe he meant that.
Funnily enough, we didn't correct him. So, I mean, but generally...
There are people that you do correct, and then there are boxing champions.
Yeah.
I think if one generally in life pursues the truth, I think you're all right. So, yeah, I think you might lose a few friends. God knows I have. But
but other people imagine that you're...
Yeah, that's it. I
all evens out, doesn't it?
It's it. I have sort
Frank's
of...
a bit like a sort of the equaliser. That's how you see your role, isn't
Edward
it?
Woodward.
I just find it hard
No, but
not
thanks
to.
for the tip.
But I also correct people about their whole worldview, not just minor mispronunciations, and they don't like that, I find.
And you give them styling and makeover tips, I notice a lot. It's extraordinary.
Yeah, but you know what? They're from the heart.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
We're still in email corner, Frank.
Yes,
Just FYI.
I can smell it.
So this is from Nick P, early 30s, Norwich.
I like early 30s.
We're not on Tinder. Dear Team Frankencock.
Okay.
We're okay still,
That's
I think,
good.
aren't we?
Yes.
I have a vague memory of Frank recounting on Fantasy
I have a vague memory as well.
on Fantasy Football League circa 1994.
Can I say Fantasy Football League was a TV show I did?
People know that.
They don't all know that, not the young.
Okay.
It's 20 years ago that started.
That he'd witnessed a QPR fan shout at former Norwich City player Ian Crook with the grave insult, "Crook, you're a crook."
Yes, can I say I remember this, and it was Nick Hancock who told that story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was on that show, but I cannot take credit for it.
Okay.
But yeah, it somebody shouted, it was like, "Oi, crook!" And he looked round, he went, You're a crook." It was that kind of...
I was reminded of this at the very same ground this season when I had a similar quality taunt aimed at former Watford and West Bromwich Albion stalwart Paul Robinson. Oi, Robinson, you should stick to the barley water. Does the panel know of any further insults?
It's a bit clever, that one.
I like that.
Well,
have you heard any good ones?
I wonder if Robinson, you should stick to the barley water. Is that implying, like, as a business model, don't give up your day job, or is it implying you shouldn't be this drunk when you're playing football? Is it saying lay off the booze?
He's put a twist
before?
on it. He's put a twist on it.
I've never heard those stories about Paul Robinson. I think he's clean living.
All right, in that case, it's a business thing. You should stick to the barley water.
A mate of mine, Jeff, who's another West Brom fan, told me he heard a guy. And this is the thing: is if you're going to shout out abuse, work it out in your mind first. Don't start
and then work it out.
So there was this guy who played for us called Darren Bradley, who was. He was. I thought he was a really good player, but he was a big fan of the sideways pass rather than the forward pass. And this guy went, "Oi, Bradley, you're about as positive as a negative Earth." Complete gibberish.
He was probably an electrician that's made the world safer with his earthing.
But the terrible thing was that once he got up and made the shit, everyone looked to see what was coming, you know, and then it was a terrible, crumbling, awful moment. I think another really rubbish insult I remember was when the BBC did a dramatisation of Martin Chuzzlewit.
Oh, I remember it well.
The Charles Dickens thing. And Gary Bushell said in his review, "Too much chuzzle, not enough wit."
Oh, that's very Bushell.
It'd be good if there was such a word as chuzzle. But as it was just, he thought, well, it's got wit in it, I'll just make it work.
What about when my dad, Frank, was angry with the man on the tube? And the worst insult my dad could muster up was, you illiterate swine." Isn't that brilliant?
Another bloke shouted at a football match I was at. A bloke missed quite a bad shot and an easy chance.
Yeah.
And this old guy next to me said, "I wouldn't have liked to have been with you on the 6-inch mortars." I thought, I bet he's been using that for 70 years, that insult.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
What about Frank's shoes? I'm sorry, we haven't discussed this on the show as friends, but I was sickened. I mean, this morning he said, look at the dust on my shoes.
I know, they are very, very...
It was when Larry Grayson used to say, "Oh, the muck in here," which was one of his catchphrases, I believe.
When
the muck on your shoes.
I know, they're just very, very dusty. They look like they've been in an old, disused house for maybe 4 years.
You look like they've been in that Peter Weir film, Walkabout. Google it.
I think I did. I think the boys will remember that one. I just went for a bit of a dusty walk, that's all.
You sure?
He goes for a dusty walk.
Have you not worn them for like 6 years and kept them in a woodworking shed? Or something like that?
I'm on a crypt tour of the UK.
I think we should take a picture.
You
to
and
show the
Adrian
readers.
Childs for the documentary.
You can take
Can
a
you
picture.
take a picture for the readers? The dust.
I've accidentally
Honestly.
wiped a bit off on my trouser leg as I've sat here
It's thick.
relaxing. Anyway, enough of my
enough of your
dusty
dust.
shoes. I shall shake the dust from my shoes when I leave these studios
Indeed.
for Easter.
We need to talk about the Scarborough Beauty Contest. Yes, I said it, Scarborough Beauty Contest.
I know.
And they had a fight to which the police were called after chants from a section of the audience were shouting "fix" when their favourite contestant didn't win. And apparently none of the contestants noticed that people were shouting "fix" because they thought people were shouting "fit," and that's the voice in their head all the time.
Or thick.
Fit. Yeah, thick. I don't think that's quite as flattering.
Because you see, there was a lot of fake tan. I mean, unsurprising.
Well, it's
Was
a beauty
there?
contest. I know this is very...
Frank loves beauty contests.
I do. I really
know,
like
I know.
it,
Do
but
you?
not for horrible sordid. But I mean, you can argue this out politically as much as you like. But the bottom, no one's ever come up with a look better than swimsuit and high heels as a combo. It just
Really?
works brilliantly.
I think I prefer the trouser suit.
Oh, don't try
Cover
and
up.
score politically correct.
I find
points.
swimsuit and high heels a bit too Ronnie's dressed up as a woman or something. And also, it's very carry-on film, Frank.
It is, but that's what I like about it. It's got
Yeah.
that British sort of...
You like that sort of
you
thing,
can't
yeah.
take them too seriously.
I like when
I don't mean women, I mean beauty contests.
Well, I
you
think
mean that as well.
I also like... I say beauty contests. I love that they're called pageants. Suggest some fabulous ceremonial.
Don't get me
thing.
wrong, I love the Eric Morley days.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. As
Yeah,
a,
the
as a-
halcyon days
as
of the
a
beauty
family,
contest.
What that means.
we
Eric
used to sit-
Morley, explain please, Frank, who Eric Morley is.
Eric Morley and his wife Julia, they ran Miss World, and that's all they
They
did. I
became
think.
celebrities as a result. You know, like,
Oh, Julia's still at it.
yeah.
She's on her seventh face. God bless her. But as a family, we would sit. We'd have a bit of pencil and a paper,
Yeah,
a
we
bit
would.
of paper and a pencil each, and we'd do our scores on all
Would you
on
really?
all the countries.
Oh, I did. I always plumped for Miss Venezuela.
I'm on about when I was like, 7.
Right.
It used to be a family event.
to judge beauty.
Yeah, and in many ways, I hate beauty.
Right.
I went past.
Yeah.
We drove past.
Pendulum has swung somewhat.
Well, I mean the concept of beauty as
Why do you hate beauty?
Well, I was going past a couple of shops in the tour truck, and there was one. It was a tanning place,
A lot of that.
and it said outside tanning, nails, beauty, and next door, but one was a Boots, and outside the Boots it said pharmacy, beauty, and I thought beauty now has become a slightly naff thing that you get in a.
Well, you won't be getting this walls from the beauty cupboard then.
No.
Okay, I forgot about the beauty cupboard. My days of the beauty cupboard are long. The last time I looked in there, Mr. Timness was in there.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Do you know what Rob Young has said on Twitter? No?
No.
Okay. No, he says, as a watch has bezel, could it be embezzled with diamonds?
Oh.
Phonetically and accidentally, Prince Nassim might be right.
Well, I didn't know
Clever.
a watch had a bezel.
Yeah, a diving watch has got a rotating bezel often, so you
So
can
it could
turn
be.
it to...
I love the fact that I discover after all these years
Embezzled, yeah.
that he was right, because then
Yeah.
my restraint will be rewarded.
And was that Rob Young?
That was Rob Young.
Wow, he's got a wise head on young shoulders there. He,
He
really
used
has.
to live next door to me in Bristol Hall Road in
Rob
Holborn.
Young?
Yeah, he did.
It's
not-
nice
it
he's
won't be
staying
the
in
same
touch,
one.
though, isn't
I
it?
still see him sometimes outside the Albion. He's never mentioned his,
Never mentioned
his
the
knowledge
bezel.
of the watch workings.
Perhaps he's a keen horologist.
So what
Maybe.
about if you take John Keats's Beauty is Truth, Truth Beauty?
Yeah.
Should it not
And we
be?
do.
Just wrapping up the show here on Absolute Radio.
do. That's
It's John
a given.
Keats.
Wouldn't there be an argument to have a beauty contest where it's hair scraped back, no makeup, simple, very simple chemise.
Like the no makeup
Maybe
selfies
made of
type
hessian.
movement, yeah.
So they're stripped right down to just a plain,
Sackcloth.
very plain
Yeah.
thing.
Uh-huh.
And then you could have 2 rounds. You could have inner beauty and outer beauty, and whoever gets the biggest total score wins.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be good?
It sounds rather bleak, if you don't mind me saying.
Well, I think there's
8,
nothing
12,
wrong.
15, wouldn't that be good?
There's nothing
Text.
wrong with a sort of slightly Beckettian beauty pageant. I'd be happy with that.
But what questions are they asked then? This is a problem. I think
That has questions
it's inherently
like,
flawed, darling.
do you believe that the living are merely the dead on holiday? It's, tell me, Miss Venezuela, do you feel that life is a grotesque pantomime? I believe that life, whilst dark in many ways, it'd be very interesting.
It would.
And there'd be lovely, plain-faced, fresh-faced
Oh,
women.
I love the existential pageant.
Yeah.
I'd be bang up for
They'd
that.
be barefoot, I think.
I think I'd do well in that, if you don't mind me saying. I hate to be arrogant.
Would you be all right with a scraped back hair and no makeup? You'd be
I
happy
do
with
no
that?
makeup, and no one would know.
No, you see what you've done.
Yeah, people try that
Yeah.
on the World Wide Web and then they get called out, don't they, in
Yeah,
gossip
look at
chat.
poor Catherine Jenkins. It's been torn to pieces. You know I'm not one to gossip. And, yes, thanks very much for listening. If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.